Okay, what's up?
And I don't know if again, this is
Yeah, it's
just me
yours.
thinking.
Yeah.
So and a little bit how this might connect to my background. So I at one time was in a PhD study. So I didn't finish my PhD, full disclosure, like
Hmm.
all but dissertation. But my focus was on American cultural studies, and I focused a lot on at one point American slavery, slave narratives, looking at how Black culture has been seen in American pop culture, how
Hmm.
Black people have been seen, right? So how it's transformed and how it was presented in the media, not by Black people, right, necessarily, but about Black people.
Okay.
So this kind of comes from this, and I thought about this idea of like, why do you have this gap between, Black men and Black women? And what you're saying is confidence, or, going out there and kind of uh, go overcoming these issues with internal issues, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I started thinking about it. And when you think about what Black women have had for, say, like over the last 40 years, we've had Oprah,
Hmm.
we've had a lot of talk show hosts and magazines. And those magazines have focused on things like healing, self care,
Mm.
finding your calling, finding your passion, peace. Um, you know, finding healing through your girlfriends, starting your business as your passion, or your passion as your business. That has been a key component of not just Black culture, but pop culture for the last 40 years. But I don't necessarily, you may know, correct me if I'm wrong. I can't think of a equivalent figure for Black men.
You can I tell you this is not so this is ironic, but yet not so ironic because when you think about the concept, because you're talking about self-care, right? Like really just self-care and personal development and really doing this deep dive into who I am. And in essence, what you're stating is because of what's been put out, because media does influence a lot of how we think. Because
Absolutely.
I mean
Yeah.
that we if we try to say, I mean, unless you're living like on a mountain somewhere with no electricity and you don't have any access, which is a very small percentage of people, media influences a lot of what we do and how we consume things and all of that. And so to your point, you bring out a really interesting perspective that self-care has been in the mix for Black women for the last 4 decades,
Mhm.
whereas we are just now starting to see the need for self-care as it pertains to Black men. So
Yes.
when you start looking at Black men going to therapy, like Black women been doing therapy for a couple decades, Black
Yeah.
men is just now starting to be non cachet to say, okay,
Mhm.
I got a therapist, or
Yeah.
I have a coach, or I have to, I'm working on this, or I'm going and getting me a massage, or I'm going and having a trainer, or whatever. It's now becoming okay and cool in media for Black men to do that. So
Yeah.
there's about a 3.5 decade lag for us to catch up in regards to that self-care metric.